What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got another edition of The Drive-In where I watch recently released films and tell you guys whether they're worth watching, worth waiting for, or worth skipping altogether. Today I'm going to dive right into one that I've been looking forward to as soon as I found out there was going to be a sequel when I saw the cast list. I'm talking about Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. I love the first Ready or Not. It was in my top 2 of the year it came out. I own it. I couldn't watch it enough times. I rewatched it again last night before I went to see the sequel today with my friend. So I checked out Ready or Not 2, and I'm going to bring you guys a quick review of that, spoiler-free. There will be no spoilers about Ready or Not 2, but there will be spoilers in my synopsis from Ready or Not 1. So if you've not seen the first Ready or Not, those are going to be spoiled, but Ready or Not 2 will not be spoiled. This film was written by Guy Busick, R. Christopher Murphy, and Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, the writers and conceptualizers of the first film. Directed by Tyler Gillett and Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, collectively known as Radio Silence. We love these guys. And starring Samara Weaving as Grace, Katherine Newton as Faith, Sarah Michelle Gellar as Ursula, and Sean Hattasey, I apologize for not saying that properly, Sean Hattasey as Titus. And as spoiler-free as I can with the synopsis, this film picks up right after the events of the first one, directly following the state of Grace after surviving her run-in with her husband and the rich family that tried to kill her as part of a pact with the devil. And this film picks up right afterwards where Faith, played by Katherine Newton in this all-star cast, is Grace's sister, and Grace is being potentially tried for the events of the first film. And then you come to find out that after the events of the first film, because Grace survived the Ready or Not game, the hide-and-seek game, where the other family blew up, now all of a sudden the other rich families that are all involved in this pact with the devil are fighting for the crown to be in the most favor with Satan and get all the riches and all the fame and everything. So all of these rich families now are coming together to play the game over again to vie for the crown, in which Grace is also involved with now her sister. So Samara Weaving's character Grace, who we love from the first film, has to come back and play this game over again with even larger stakes. That's about all I can say based on the trailer without spoiling the movie. So getting into our positives right away. Casting. You guys heard me say Samara Weaving once again is back. Katherine Newton is horror royalty. Sarah Michelle Gellar is general royalty. I don't know Sean Hattasey off the top of my head, but he was great in this. Elijah Wood's in this. There's so many other actors that pop up. It's an amazing cast, a big cast, and it's a combination of current day stars and, longtime stars coming together and playing their characters so very well. The casting and acting in this is superb. It's a nice blend of horror and comedy. It's very, very nicely done. Now, another positive, callbacks. Lots of callbacks to the first film. The first few frames of this sequel are from the last film, and then right away in the first 5 minutes, you get Samara Weaving's character recapping the events of the first film, and then you get all kinds of callbacks. You get the famous wedding dress again, you get some weapon callbacks, you get some callbacks to the demon in the first family, you get a couple of lines from the first film. There's a lot of good stuff in this that call back to the first film without feeling heavy-handed. They do a nice job recapping and picking up and getting you into this continuously, so this movie feels like a movie that could stand alone and be on its own, but also serves as a nice rewatch with the first film because you're rewarded for watching the first film over again. So it serves as its own thing and a nice companion piece to watch the original back to back, which makes me glad that I watched the first one again last night. Some nice callbacks. Torture. One of the things that makes the first Ready or Not stand out so much is how real the torture felt and how all the blows that Samara Weaving took made her feel like a trialed, time-tested final girl. The writing of this character and the stuff she went through and had to survive, and the way they applied the gore to her body and the sound effects with the torture that she went through made it feel like a real journey. It made you feel for Samara Weaving. It made you feel like you're watching this happen in real time. It made you feel her pain and feel for her triumph when she overcame the bad guys in the first film. And they do a great job in making you feel the battle scars with the sound design, with the gore. It's all put together so well as a film where every blow that Samara Weaving and Katherine Newton and others take in this film feels so real. It makes you hate the bad guys, love the good guys, and feel like you're enjoying this journey. And the gore brings part of the horror along in that journey as well. Sister bond is my next positive. You know, we have the story of Samara Weaving's character being an orphan, kind of bouncing around in foster homes from the first film. And we get that sister bond with Kathryn Newton. You get two modern-day final girls that are great horror, kind of top-end horror talents in this, coming together in their bond of the lines, the pacing, their comedic timing, their love-hate relationship, their past, unfurl so nicely to give Grace another layer that you don't get to see in the first film. And Kathryn Newton brings her own signature moves and things into this character in the same way that Grace does in the first film. And it comes together in such a beautiful mishmash, the casting, the writing. The sister bond is really the heart of this story. And heart is what carries part of the first film and does so even more in this film. Next positive. Also, just wanted to, a side note, I was looking to shout out as well Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Heresy here as well. They play a brother-sister bond that have a lot of just, again, kind of a similar thing, sass and anger and different portrayals of their sadness, anger, fierceness. They do a great job as well. But stakes raised. This is what you want from a sequel is something that feels like part of the original story while adding to the lore but not changing the lore. Making the first one still stand up strong and building onto it even more, which is what the writers did here, which is what the cast did here, and the stakes felt raised. Because all the other families come together in this film, you have more people, more characters, more background for what happened in the first film, and because their lives are on the line again, you get even more of that survival need. Samara surviving the first one, back in the second one. They do a nice job kind of repeating part of the story while adding on to it and making it feel worthy so that it's not just a retread. It doesn't change the original story, but it adds to it, and it can repeat the stakes while making them feel bigger and better, which is what a good horror sequel or any sequel will do, or is supposed to do. The comedy in this, once again, is very solid. Comedy is a strong piece of the first one. It's just as strong here in the second one. Held up by a couple of really cool background characters, a couple of butlers, the sisters going back and forth with each other. The timing Samara Weaving has always had has been great. Kathryn Newton shows good comedic chops here that I haven't seen from her before to this degree, which is wonderful. I only have two negatives here. Now, one negative is forgettable background cast. Some of the background guys aren't great. A lot of them are great. Nestor Carbonell's great. Some of the other relations there are great, but there's a couple that are just kind of there. While I like a lot of the additions in the cast, love some of them, like a lot of them, there's a couple that don't stand out or do anything special or are just there for comedic timing and nothing more, so they feel a little bit thin compared to some of the other original cast in the first one. And the second thing is we're missing some horror. This feels more like a thriller comedy or an action comedy. There's so much action, so much fighting and blood and all this stuff. It does the comedy so well, and it does the suspense so well that we do kind of lose the scares. There's a couple jump scare things here and there, but the horror aspect of this horror comedy is not really there. It's overtaken by the comedy in a good way, but it's more of a thriller / action movie at this point than it is a horror. But I'm not going to complain because it is well done. So overall, I think I gave the first one when I reviewed it an 8 out of 10 in its year. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's quite the masterpiece that I thought the first one was, but it's not far off. It is definitely a sequel, so not as good as the OG, but it is very, very worthy. And it's by far so far my favorite thing that I've seen in 2026. Best horror film of the year so far, even though it's light on the horror. The new cast does a lot. They add to the lore without changing the lore, and I think it's a very fun movie. I think if you love the first one, you're going to at least like, if not love, this one. I give it a 7 out of 10. It's my number one so far this year. I'm going to be doing Send Help. If you guys want to hear me talk more about this, about spoilers, if you want to see my Send Help review or all my Steal a Draft videos, go check those out. What'd you think of this? Tell me in the comments down below if you've seen it, and if you have not, it's still in theaters. Go support it and check it out. It's a good movie. Please like, share, and subscribe these deep dives, and I will see you guys soon. Take care and stay scared.